And for the second week in a row, I hate being right. I think I even got the score right. I think that's 2017, the Saints. But the game wasn't even as close as the score would indicate, really. Or it didn't seem that way, but it was. But it didn't seem that way. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it was a close game, but it felt like it should have been a close game.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't really a close game, but it was a close game.
It wasn't a close game until it was, if that makes any sense at all.
But see, it was, and then suddenly it wasn't. But then it was again.
until it was again.
Yeah.
We're not making any sense here.
I'm a construction. I'm Kaiser with a Hornets jersey on today because my Panthers jerseys are
for what?
Angry Black fan Jamal Darby, and boy, there's a lot to be angry about.
No. Hey, read the tagline, sir. Read it. Read the tagline. We're numb. We're not angry.
I guess numb is a good way to put it. What's up, Ty? You know what though? I mean, like I said, I didn't expect the Panthers to win this game, but not for the reasons that they lost it last night.
Right.
I figured that the defense wouldn't be able to handle Derek Carr as well as they handled Desmond Ridder. But I actually think the defense performed well last night, as well as they could given the circumstances, and they just couldn't hold up. Really, defensively, it came down to one play. Our favorite cornerback in the world, C.J. Henderson, guys, play through the whistle.
Oh boy,
play through the whistle. They teach you that in Pop Warner. Play through the whistle. Don't put your hands up because you think it might be a flag. And now we got to hear about Chris Olave's amazing catch the rest of the broadcast.
Well, you can't really blame C.J. Henderson there.
Yeah,
you can actually. I'm sorry, I disagree.
If he had left his hand out there, that's an incomplete pass.
Hello, I disagree. Sorry.
In New Orleans punts, but instead you give New Orleans the ball in the red zone after that play, and that kind of broke the game open. It forced the Panthers to play catch up, which that offense is not equipped to do. They're not even equipped to. I don't know what they're equipped to do.
I don't know what their offense is equipped to do right now.
I'm going to say this, though. Guys. This is Bryce Young's second game in the NFL. Second.
Hey, no, man. No. Should have got C.J. Stroud. Shedeur Sanders is coming out next year. I told you he was too short.
You know what, though? If you just read the box score, let's read the box score. 153 yards. So he only passed for 153 yards. But 22 for 33, that's 66%, one touchdown with a QBR of 60 and a passer rating of 87.1. Is that like terrible for someone's second NFL game?
You know what? If we put this in proper context, Kaza, considering how dysfunctional this offense looks, not really.
Derek Carr had worse numbers. Derek Carr, he's a veteran. He was a guy that a lot of people wanted to come to Carolina. He actually came here to talk to our guys, and he had a terrible game last night.
Kaza, our fans don't want to look, man. Carolina fans don't want to hear your sensibility and your objectivity right now. We are not angry enough right now, okay?
Right. We're not.
It is time for us to be angry. So let me bring the anger that you are not bringing right now, sir. Okay, all right, Kaza. We had lost 5 years of our lives with Matt Rule, and this team told us that the offense would be better, and we have the all-star coaching staff, and we got weapons like Hayden Hurst and DJ Chark around Bryce Young, and it has not come, and a better offense has not come to fruition after week 2. Damn it, we're supposed to be mad. Because it is now. This is me not being sarcastic, by the way. Let me reel it in because this is me being for real. I will say this, man. Last night and yesterday, the passing attack and offense is under impressive. I will readily admit that. I will. And I will admit that I expected a little better from this offense. I don't like the fact that they're kind of handicapping Bryce Young and not allowing him to throw the ball down the field a little more. Here's why. And I noticed something, man. The Falcons and the Saints did the same thing in back-to-back weeks. They're playing a lot of cover two. They're stacking the box a lot because they're not scared of us throwing the ball down the field. And I think, man, we need to loosen up this offense. I don't know, and I feel like a bad podcast host because I'm not doing enough homework. I don't know who's calling the plays. I don't know if it's Reich. I don't know if it's Brown. But they need to get on the same page, and something needs to change because I will say the offense doesn't look creative enough for my liking. I'll say that much. I'm not jumping off the boat. Listen, guys, let me be very clear, man. I'm not jumping off the boat. I'm not. There's 15 more games. So much can change in 15 more games. Let me be very clear about that. However, the offense has not been that impressive to me, man.
I wasn't expecting. At no point before the season started was I expecting the offense to ever be more than just a project. At this point, we had said the defense. If the one thing you can credit Matt Rule for is he built a pretty good defense, and he said he would, and he did. Okay,
right.
And the reason that we did not retain Steve Wilks is because we wanted a more offensive-minded team. We wanted to throw the ball more. We wanted to focus on the other side of the ball, and we really didn't do that much in the offseason. I feel like the wide receiver acquisitions were okay. Hey, I thought Hayden Hurst was a pretty good pickup. He was an upgrade to what we had at tight end. I thought the Miles Sanders signing was great considering they didn't re-sign Deontay Foreman. And a lot of people felt like we should have kept Foreman, but I think he wanted too much money.
Right.
And if you're going to pay that much money, why not take a Pro Bowler, a proven Pro Bowler? But outside of those two acquisitions, I mean, what do we have? We have a makeshift offensive line. We don't have a true number one wide receiver. The reason the Falcons essentially dared us to throw last week was because DJ Chark wasn't, he's our only deep threat and he didn't play. He played last night though, but you would have never known it. He had one catch. So I agree. I think I gotta lay this one at the feet of the coaching staff. I mean, I understand it's a process. Trust the process, right?
Yeah, right.
I gotta see something. I just felt like the play calling isn't good enough for me or creative enough to really give Bryce Young a chance to do what he does. I mean, first of all, the wide receivers don't get any separation. First 2 weeks of the season, Carolina Panthers dead last in wide receiver separation. Okay, so who is he supposed to throw the ball to? One. If your wide receivers can't get separation, then you scheme around that. You scheme up ways to get separation. How many screen passes we throw last night?
Not enough.
None. There's get right up. You have a weak offensive line. You got an aggressive defensive front on the other side. Throw some damn screen passes. Let them get into a rhythm.
Let me. I want to know what you think about this because I mentioned this to a friend last night, man. Like, Laviska Shenault, I call him like Deebo Samuel light. Like he's our version of Deebo Samuel, and I don't think that we're using him the way that we used him last year. At least not enough.
Touch the ball, something good happened. Every time.
Right. But we're not seeing that so far, in week 2. And not only that, man, but here's something else I noticed. Like there were not a lot of positives going back to the Atlanta game. But the one thing that you could see in that Atlanta game is that the ball was kind of being spread around a little more. I didn't see that so much last night, man. I mean, Thielen had 7 catches. Hurst was kind of invisible. 3 catches, 20 yards was not a big impact. Chark only 1 catch, the 1 catch for 15 yards. But if you compare to this week to last week, that ball is not being spread around enough, man. So I just, again, man, just to your point, the play calling is just, it leaves a lot to be desired as far as using the weapons that we actually do have.
I think that when you have a quarterback, this is not a knock on Bryce Young at all. In fact, this is a way to praise him. But when you have a cerebral quarterback, a quarterback that doesn't rely on his natural physical talents,
right,
it's easier to scheme that kind of person out as a rookie. Whereas, like, take Cam Newton. Remember his first 2 games? You know why Cam Newton had the 2 greatest first 2 games as a rookie in NFL history? Because the guy was 6'6", 250. He could throw the ball literally 80 yards in the air. He could,
and
you couldn't scheme past Cam Newton as a rookie.
And it also helps you had Steve Smith, Jeremy Shockey, and Greg
Olsen, right? Yeah, right. Exactly. He had D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart. So you couldn't do that with a player like Cam, or even because we might as well get this comparison out of the way. C.J. Stroud. I think C.J. Stroud is probably better physically gifted than Bryce Young is. He's bigger. He's more of the typical NFL player, but I think the Saints said, okay, we're gonna show Bryce Young some things that we know he's never seen.
Right.
He couldn't have possibly seen it on film. It's only week 2. This is NFL defense, right? So Bryce Young couldn't rely on any physical talents to get him past that. That's going to change later in the season and next season. I guarantee.
When he gets more comfortable.
Oh yeah, next season you won't be able to do things like the Saints were doing Madden shit. You know how Madden you come out and you be like, oh, that's cover 2. Oh no, that's a cover 1 robber, right? Because the defenses look similar and they'll line up in a base alignment, so you don't really know if it's man or zone. I think that was confusing Bryce Young because if you don't know if it's man or zone before the snap, you're already behind
the curve. Right there, you're already behind the curve, right? Which, and to your point, man, it makes it even more silly and stupid to be overly critical of Bryce Young at this point in week 2 of the damn season. Like I saw a little bit of that last night amongst the social media people. Like Bryce Young, I expected more, and his pocket presence.
I don't understand why people say that. I don't get it.
Same. So, what are we looking at? What are we looking at? To your point, again, this is the first time he's seeing these defenses, man. And again, it's not like he doesn't have Steve Smith, Greg Olsen, and Jeremy Shockey in year number 1. And you know what's ironic about this? I'm going to tell you something real funny about this. Why does it seem like Bryce was kind of figuring out the Saints schemes when it was too late? In the fourth quarter, they actually put together a little drive and scored. By that time, the game's essentially over. You understand what I'm saying? But that's just a microcosm of what it's going to be like all season. It's going to be a young man trying to figure it out and adjusting on the fly. So we better get used to it, man, win or lose.
Well, you gotta help your quarterback out. I don't see anybody helping Bryce Young out there on that field. I don't see anybody getting open except Adam Thielen, who is 172 years old.
Right.
I don't see nobody blocking. I still see the same dumbass penalties from the offensive line that still drives.
Dude, I was watching the game on this tricked out bus. It was a Panthers bus. It was badass. It was badass. I wanted to flip the bus over when Cade Mays got that penalty on when we were 4th and 1, man. Like, come on, man. Like,
I mean, big play. You convert that 4th and 1, and you got New Orleans on their heels. Now you've got to kick a field goal. I mean,
is there a worse way to sabotage your rookie quarterback? Seriously, dude.
Yes, people got to help him out. It's like it's weird how Bryce Young is getting all this criticism as if he's the only person out there.
Right.
Officially, he is the only person out there.
We ain't gonna act like we don't know why that's the case. Come on, dude. He's essentially following Cam Newton. Let's be clear. I don't care about the other 7 or 8 quarterbacks we had since Cam. All right,
9. He's the 9th. Bryce Young is the 9th starting quarterback since Cam Newton left.
And it doesn't matter. But we know who he's going to be compared to. Okay, number 1 pick. The expectations are there. We're impatient. Let's be clear about that.
Well, crazy is they hated Cam. People act like now. Don't get me wrong. Cam Newton was iconic to the majority, I think, of Panthers fans in Charlotte, particularly after the Super Bowl season.
Right.
But once he hurt his shoulder, By the way, the Panthers were 6-1 up until that hit. 6-1.
Everybody jumped off the boat after that.
Everyone kicked him to the curb, right? No one wanted, and people then all the same old things you saw about Cam Newton came out. Oh, he's inaccurate. He overthrows people, whatever. Bryce Young getting that from day one. So, and I think a lot of people are still mad that we didn't pick CJ Stroud. And although CJ Stroud has performed well in Houston, even though they 0-2 as well, so it's like, how well could he possibly be performing if they're still losing? But do you really think he was going to – if CJ Stroud had come to Charlotte and you put him behind that O-line –
and with those weapons.
With DJ Chark, Jonathan Mingo, and Adam Thielen and Hayden Hurst as your receiver core, that he was going to do the same thing? That he was no.
And listen, man, I mean, not just what we're looking at on paper, but what we're actually paying attention to on every offensive down, I should say, man. I've been watching this thing closely, dude, and I don't know what quarterback could be successful with these weapons in this offense through week 2. There are way too many times. I wish, Kaiser, I had like some analytic numbers to throw at you in terms of like the percentage of when Bryce Young has absolutely nowhere to go with the football, literally, okay? If it's not anywhere to go with the football, it's a rush in his face. It's a whiffed block by Ike Khan, which I'm about fed up with this dude through week 2, honestly. But it's just it's the offense is so dysfunctional. I don't see how any quarterback can succeed right now, honestly.
I think last week is in Bryce Young's head a little bit because
he's not comfortable.
He got baited last week into one of those picks. And there was a play, I don't recall the situation, where Bryce Young had rolled out to his left and he had Adam Thielen on the sideline and he could have made the throw. The corner was about 3-4 yards off. Now, it would have been a tough throw, but he could have made it. He looked off of him like, what if he's baiting me? And he ended up having to throw the ball away. And I remember people in one of the Panthers forums essentially saying, getting on him about that. And it's like, guys, it's the second week. He's got to – okay, if he had thrown that ball and it got picked off, you know what you would have said?
Right.
Man, he can't be getting baited in the intercept.
Right.
You got to let the kid grow. You gotta in this idea, if I hear one more, I'm just going to, fuck it. If I hear one more motherfucker talk, bring Andy Dalton out. Andy Dalton don't sit his red ass somewhere. Man, get the
stop it. Yeah, just don't even attempt to talk football if you're saying bring Andy Dalton. Just I don't even want to.
Idea of and these are some of the same fans that be like, man, the Hornets losing, might as well play the young guys. But we don't say that for Bryce Young. We like, we should sit Bryce Young for a whole damn season to learn behind Andy Dalton. What is he gonna learn behind the red right?
There's absolutely no logic behind that at all. I mean, when I say none, there's no logic behind that. None. Stop it.
Bryce Young should be getting every damn snap.
Every snap. I don't give a damn if we go 0-17 with Bryce Young at the helm. He should be getting every single snap. It makes no sense. To make a substitution. It just doesn't, man.
I've always felt that, and when people say, man, they need to. This is a dumb argument I hear. Man, they need to sit him like the Packers did Jordan Love behind Aaron Rodgers. You know why Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers?
Because he's Aaron Rodgers.
He's Aaron Rodgers. Do you know why Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for a year?
Because he's Brett Favre. Not Andy Dalton. Stop it.
I'm sorry. Well, I kept seeing that last night. It's like,
dude, I saw the couple. Some things are so dumb you don't even respond to. I'm just not. Nope, not doing it. Sorry.
Yeah,
not getting into that.
So, all right, I that's all I'll say about that. Also, Frank Reich made the comment today. I feel like I'm the one that should be calling the plays. Now, we said before the season started that reports were coming out of Indy about the time that right after he left, that Frank Reich was known for running these overly complex offenses.
Yeah.
Nobody liked his play calling or these super complex offenses.
Right.
I wonder if that's what we're getting here. That's
No,
part of the problem.
you know what? I actually think it's the opposite. And I could be wrong. Let me be very clear about that. I actually think he heard that and he is overcompensating and he's running a super plain vanilla offense now. I think he's overcompensating for the overcomplicated offenses that he usually runs.
You could be right. I mean, maybe he feels like Bryce isn't ready for the super Frank Reich
right.
offense.
Because there's nothing overly complicated about what he's running so far. Nothing.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It looks like he's in the sandbox with a stick and just drawing plays every down. That's what it looks like now.
Suggestion every time. Every coach suggestion, man. Like every time.
I do that. Actually.
I mean, yeah. But they be calling good plays, unlike Frank Reich. So, I just I don't know if I agree that we've been rebuilding since 2016. I think honestly this is the first real rebuild year. Tepper has been he hasn't wanted to call it a rebuild, more like a retool. But I think when you ship off your very best players, your very best offensive players, at least on the offensive side of the ball, it's a rebuild.
Yeah, but I mean, and let me interrupt you, man. And I think that's why fans are mad, because this is not what we were expecting. Because let's be clear, conventional wisdom would tell you, okay, last year the offense struggled, right? But we blamed most of our offensive struggles on what? Play calling and the quarterback. We blamed Sam Darnold all the time. We blamed Matt Rule for the offense last year. Conventional wisdom tells you, okay, we have an offensive mind now. We have a better talent at quarterback, so it should be better. No, we're getting a reality check. And that reality check is we have a rookie quarterback who's young. We have a coach who is adjusting on the fly. And I'm being nice about that. Let me be very clear, okay? and our weapons are just probably not what we want them to be or what we thought they were going to be. Let's just be honest, man. So between those three things, we're just getting a dose of reality. Now, again, it's 15 more games left. All right. Okay. Coaching may figure something out. You know, Bryce may get more comfortable. He may start spreading the ball around. He may start throwing the ball down the field more. I don't know. I don't have my crystal ball today. But this is why fans are so upset now, because we're not getting what we expected, simple and plain.
I mean, context and circumstance is important to note. The first game of the season was a divisional opponent on the road. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I picked the Panthers to lose that game. I just didn't see a rookie quarterback going on the road in a place like Atlanta, which can be fairly hostile because they're division rivals, and walking out with the win. And then even though we were playing the Saints at home, I just felt like the Saints had too much firepower, although they didn't. We'll get to that in a minute. But I do feel like this game, both those games are winnable. Both of these games were extremely winnable, except for some missteps by the players and by the coaches. Although I'm going to give Frank Reich a little bit of leeway from week one. I don't feel like they called a bad game. This week, I felt like they got outcoached. They got straight up outcoached, particularly when it came to the Saints defense versus the Panthers offense. They said, we're going to confuse Bryce Young. And not only that, we're going to dare them to throw, because we're going to put everybody in the box. We're going to put cheerleaders, fans,
coordinators.
Yeah. Everybody.
We stacking 22 in the box, and we're going to dare you to throw the ball.
And I think the Saints let us get that first good run because they wanted to see. They wanted to see what the look would look like. They came out. Miles Sanders got 10 yards on that first carry, and that was it. There was no more running the ball. It's like, so now here's what you got to do, Bryce Young. You got to throw the ball, and you got to do it against these confusing coverages. They didn't even blitz. They rarely blitzed. They rushed for it and was able to get.
I'm telling you, man, they sat in cover two damn near the whole game, dude. They were just daring us to throw the ball down the field, man.
Yeah. Good point here. Falcons and Saints probably be top 10 defenses. We'll put the ball in there against some teams. That's true. The Falcons went out and spent a lot of money on their defense.
On their secondary. Yeah,
yep.
No doubt.
The Saints have a very good front seven. I would imagine there are going to be some teams that we go up against that we don't have those kind of
good point.
issues against.
Good point.
Speaking of defense, let's
because okay. All right, because this is something I want to get off my chest before you go, man. The defense played as well as they could last night. I'll say that much. The defense pretty much kept us in this game, and I think with the offense struggling, man, it's unrealistic to ask our defense to keep getting stops over and over again with the way the offense is struggling. Okay. However, I'm going to repeat something that I said in the offseason. I'm going to say this again. Scott Fitterer, David Tepper, how can you look at that Tampa Bay game from last year and say to yourself, man, you know what? CJ Henderson and Keith Taylor, J.C. Horn, there's been some injury struggles there. Maybe we should go out and try to go get another corner to try to compensate for what may happen to J.C. Horn, because we see the result of what happens when he's not on the field. Fast forward to last night.
I still feel like they dropped the ball with Stephon Gilmore 2 seasons ago. You should have paid that man whatever it took to keep him here. And then you have J.C. Horn, Stephon Gilmore.
That's a crazy secondary.
With Dante Jackson as your nickel.
Right.
Yes. And Von Bell and Jeremy Chin. Come on, man. But no. Nope. Let's let Stephon Gilmore go to the damn Cowboys of all teams. Yeah.
And let's try to. I don't know if it's like this belief in CJ Henderson, or if they just don't want to admit that that we gave up too much for him, and we're still trying to see what we got out of him. Whatever the case is, it ain't sustainable for the long term.
This is like CJ Henderson is essentially giving up a big play.
Both games.
Yeah, both games this season and in the Tampa game last season, which cost us the division. I mean, What else do you need to see? And the Saints made it a point to go after CJ.
Where's 23? Where's 23 on the field?
And they made sure Michael Thomas was wherever he was too, because that's going to be a tough match. It's going to be, any matchup is going to be a tough one for CJ Henderson. So they got to fix the back end defensively. And with Shaq Thompson gone for the season now, with a broken fibula, stopping the run was already a weakness of the defense. And it's going to be even tougher now with Shaq Thompson out.
And what this probably means, man, is you're probably going to see like Jeremy Chin play. You don't be. I know this may sound crazy. Don't be surprised if you actually see Jeremy Chin play some nickel corner now. Okay. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy.
You might have to move him nickel corner, middle linebacker.
Right.
Jeremy Chin might be all over the field, which is good for him. I feel like
it's the way you probably need to use him anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He actually had a pretty good game yesterday. Most of the defense did, except for CJ Henderson. And I'm going to be fair to CJ Henderson. Outside of that play, he wasn't terrible, but that was a big play.
But it's always the critical play going against him, man.
And it was, I could have lived with that play if Chris Olave just burned him, just toasted him, because that would have been like CJ Henderson burnt toast. But that wasn't the case. He had great coverage on the play. He just gave up on it because he thought that Olave wasn't going to make the catch.
Wasn't going to make the catch, right?
And he made the catch, and we know he made it because the commentators talked about it for the last fucking hour of the game. So
20 hours.
Yeah. So, you got to play through the whistle. And here's the thing. CJ Henderson he's a journeyman at this point. He's a vet. You can't just go up to him and be like, hey man, you got to play through the whistle. That's some shit you should already know, right?
You're supposed to know that. Yeah. And Dante Jackson, like, I don't want to be overly critical, because I actually think for Dante Jackson's size, he over, what's the word I'm looking for, man? He's good for his size. So so anytime somebody like Michael Thomas makes some long catch on him, I never want to be overly critical. It's just like, all right, whatever, man. Dante Jackson's not the biggest guy.
He's probably more suited to play nickel.
That's my point.
Right.
Dante Jackson overachieves for his size. And like you said, he probably needs to be more of a nickel. He definitely doesn't need to be the number one guy, which he is at this point. But yeah, so.
This is a great question from Sherrod. Why is the team always reactive instead of proactive and stacking up on defensive personnel? Because,
great question, man.
Yeah, I think it's because Tepper doesn't want a defensive-minded team.
He said it. He said it initially. Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's part of the reason Matt Rule. That was a lot of reasons Matt Rule got fired, but that was one of the big ones. He gave Matt Rule control to build this team, and Matt Rule, for all his faults, I always give him credit on this. He realized that in the NFL, a great defense will carry you a lot further than a mediocre or even stellar offense in some cases, right? So we said we're going to build the defense first. But then he also built the defensive-minded team. Run the ball, play defense, run the ball, play defense, and your quarterback just has to essentially be a game manager. Tepper didn't want that. That don't put butts in the seats. That don't sell tickets. I want an offensive-minded team, even though what we have here is a team that should be built around the defense.
So all of that makes perfect sense, Kaza. It 100% makes perfect sense. But here's my concern. So, and this is a great transition to talk about, probably something fans want to talk about too. Let's talk about when Steve Wilkes took over this team last year, right? The identity of that team was we're going to run the ball with Deontay Foreman, Chuba Hubbard. We're going to establish this running game. We're going to essentially make Sam Darnold a game manager, so we're not worried about high turnovers on stuff. And that formula was the best formula we've seen in like 2 or 3 seasons, right? Mm-hmm. Right? So if I'm Dave Tepper at that point, I'm thinking to myself like, man, that formula is working pretty well. Do I really want to scrap this formula and start over and make this team in my quote-unquote image? He has the right to do that. However, through week 2, even though very early, this formula ain't working. And to be clear, again, week 2, too early to make all these judgment calls against management and blah, 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 and coaches and all this other stuff. It's way too early. But for Tepper's sake and for Fitterer's sake, I hope that whatever image they have in their head of this offensive-minded team and this team that's going to score a bunch of points, I hope for their sake it works out at least, I don't know, in the next 2 or 3 seasons, man.
Well, it's got to you've got to look at this as like there's got to be a ROI, a return on investment,
right?
Especially when you've mortgaged away your best players in order for who you believe to be a franchise quarterback.
And real quick, man. It's ironic that we want this offensive team and we want to score a bunch of points. And then we trade away our damn 2 best offensive players. Like whatever. I just
that doesn't make any. I guess. Well, you know,
I think that Christian McCaffrey guy would have helped.
My God, he is having a godlike season in San Francisco,
leading the league in rushing so far. That's great.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I digress.
I digress.
But I get it. You feel like the quarterback is the cornerstone of your offense, and you got to start from there. I'm going to give them some credit for that. Because the carousel of quarterbacks we had previously, that wasn't working. Okay, none of that was working. Bridgewater, Mayfield, Darnold, whoever, the other 8 or 5 people that came after Cam, bringing Cam back, none of that. You know, that was I'm glad to be off of that ride.
Yeah, right. I'm glad to be off the hamster wheel. Yeah.
So I'm glad in that regard, and I understand the Panthers had to give up something in order to get that. Although now I'm like, ooh, we should have waited for Shadur Sanders. But anyway, I get that. Okay, so now you got a quarterback, and then it's gonna take some time to build around him. You got to build an offensive line. You got to get weapons in place. Okay, I get it, but I think for the coaching, we're not in the first 2 weeks. We haven't seen anything that makes me believe, okay, all right, I see some good things, and this team is gonna get past this. I don't see that because they've lost winnable games because of this procedural bullshit. You know,
Okay, so let me interrupt you here, man, because here's something else I wanted to discuss too, man. So after I guess Frank Reich's presser after the game, he sounded really optimistic, and in so many words, he was saying that they didn't execute. Now, of course, he's the coach, so we're not expecting him to like take blame for vanilla play calling and scheme and all that. So of course, we're not expecting that from him. He was more so along the lines of, well, you know, if we don't get some of these dumb penalties, or if we execute better, we're in the game. He said, I promise it's going to be better. It's not as bad as you think it is. Like, are you believing any of this, man? Like, is that coach speak, or is there some merit to that?
It's too early to tell. And here's the thing about Frank Reich. He's not like a rookie coach.
He's been around.
He's been around.
And look, man, there is a part of me that says, you know what? Hey, I'm just a guy who does a YouTube show with my buddy. He's been in this league for 30 plus years. Yep. There's a part of me that wants to say, maybe we need to calm down and maybe we need to trust this guy a little more. There's a part of me that says that.
We did say this though when they made the decision to not retain Steve Wilkes. And one of the things that we brought up was, if you looked at Frank Reich's tenure, because a lot of people were happy with the move to pick up Frank Reich because he had a winning record when he was in Indy, right?
Right.
He had a winning team. But look at who he had at quarterback and at running back. You had an all-pro running back. You had Andrew Luck. You came into a team with Andrew Luck. Like, welcome to the team. Here's your quarterback, one of the best of his generation. And then when he leaves, you get Phillip Rivers. And Phillip Rivers is probably a Hall of Famer. Now, granted, he was on the downside of his career, but he had an all-pro, damn near all-pro season there.
He's fringe Hall of Famer at worst.
Yeah.
At worst. Yeah.
So that's who you had to deal with. So to have him come here and rebuild the offense from scratch, I've always felt like that wasn't going to work out how Tepper thought it was going to work out, because the tools are different. This is his first time working with a rookie quarterback, like fresh out of college, and I'm going to teach you how to be an NFL quarterback.
Yeah,
I think the thought was, well, Frank Reich himself was an NFL quarterback a million years ago, but there's knowledge that he can impart on Bryce Young. We haven't seen that come to fruition yet.
So if I'm Thomas Brown, how do I feel? Like you? Why am I here? I'm sorry, I'm not calling plays. Why am I here?
I'm just, the Panthers always, who's the GM?
Well, we know who they say the GM is.
Yeah. The GM who doesn't handle the salary cap. You have a salary cap guy. How many teams have a salary cap guy and a GM? Us, we do.
We do.
Now we have that with the coaching staff. Like, we have an offensive coordinator, but he don't really coordinate.
Somebody look, man. I've been watching football a long time. I'm old as hell. I've been watching the sports since I was 8. If somebody out there can explain to me what an offensive coordinator's role is, if you're not really calling plays, do you design the offense? Are we blaming him for the vanilla scheme? Like,
maybe it's his job to design the offense, and then Frank Reich will pick the plays that he wants to scheme out of that offense.
Which still doesn't make any sense, but whatever, man.
I don't know. I don't know anything. I just
we just do a YouTube show, man.
We don't know.
I just play Madden and do a YouTube show, man. That's it, man.
Yep. I guess I'll give him some benefit of the doubt, but you got to show more than you're showing. It would be different if, like you said, the offense was creative and not vanilla, and the players just weren't executing. Okay, all right, but I'm not seeing that. Like, they're running like slant routes and no double moves.
Nope.
No screens. No jet sweeps.
Nope.
Like,
hardly any damn drag routes. I mean, just look, man. Asking a rookie quarterback just to drop back and just throw is that's harder than it sounds, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, back-to-back runs. What are you doing? I could see New Orleans had their safeties weren't just in the box. They were like
damn near on the line.
Yes, they were like, please, we want you to throw the ball so bad, and we were like, no, we're just gonna run it right.
We're gonna let our rookie quarterback figure out what to do under duress. That sounds like a great idea.
I would say that Bryce Young, I think he did a good job of identifying blitzes and things. He did a lot of audibles out of blitzes.
I was impressed by that. Yeah.
And I will say this. You don't see a lot of rookie quarterbacks with that. Cam Newton wasn't even allowed to audible out of plays.
Yeah. Make sure you're clear about that. Not allowed to. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he's allowed to do that. I think he was able to identify stuff, but really the offensive coordinator, whether it's Frank Reich or Thomas Brown or whoever, has to be able to see what New Orleans is doing and then relay to the quarterback, okay, here's what they're doing. They're hiding coverages. They're coming out in base coverages. So you don't know if it's man or zone. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run these routes. We're going to keep them honest. We're going to run screens. We're going to whatever. I guess, I don't know. Also, yes, why didn't we use Hurst more? I thought he was great against Atlanta. He was non-existent today.
I'll try to answer that question, man. And the way I observe it and the way I see it, man, is like the offense is so simple. And when the offense is simple, the defensive scheme is going to be pretty simple. And I hate being repetitive, man. But again, I saw so much cover two the Saints were playing. So many cover two, so many just stacking the boxes, man. And Hayden Hurst is not one of those guys where you're not going to call a bunch of seam routes for Hayden Hurst, okay? Right. So you're not throwing the ball. Hayden Hurst is not going to run any deep patterns. He's going to run a bunch of underneath stuff, and it just wasn't there. It just wasn't there most of the night.
Plus, if you look at where the tight end normally operates, his job is to sit in zones. He's not typically going to get open against man coverages. What New Orleans was doing, where they were doing a good job of disguising those coverages. Bryce Young didn't know if it was going to be man or zone before the snap.
Yeah, right.
He couldn't even see if he didn't know if Hayden Hurst was going to be one of his reads in his progression before the snap. After the ball snap, he looks at the safeties. He can say, okay, this is zone. Let me see if Hurst is sitting in it. But by then, you got Cameron Jordan, breathing down your neck. So,
yeah, right.
Those are the things that the Panthers got to fix to make it easier on Bryce Young. I don't think they're making it very easy. His teammates are not making it very easy on him. Ike Ekwonu, I need you to be good.
Just be decent, because I wonder what I don't know. We're not in the locker room, man. But Ike comes across as somebody who has the fat cat syndrome. Like, he got all this praise last year, which he deserved. He played well last year, but he's coming across like a guy who's like, he's smelling himself a bit.
Like, yeah,
and you can see the drop off, and you can see a clear drop off from last year to this year.
And here's the thing: you think Steve Wilkes would allow that from any of his players?
Absolutely not. Hell no. Hell no. What was the narrative when Wilkes was here? Those players everybody used to say those players will run through the wall for Wilkes.
Yep.
And
I don't get that anybody's running through any walls for Frank Reich. Not yet.
Yeah, anyway. I don't see it, man. And listen, look, again, I don't want to talk like we were at training camps and I was at practices every day, but just from observation, man, just from watching the YouTube special, just from the interviews and just from things I've heard from people who do have the inside track, those practices are not very spirited. They're not very physical. You know what I mean? Frank Reich is not a guy who's going to get in a lot of people's faces. And I think that may be what's missing. You know what I mean? That we may need somebody who's a disciplinarian, because we look sloppy and we don't look like a team with a lot of discipline.
I think Evero should be the head coach. He got more experience. Well, maybe not more experience than Frank Reich, but he's got almost 20 years of NFL experience.
He's getting better results out of his side of the ball.
Yeah, I was gonna say the defense look like they're ready to play football. Offense,
right?
I don't know what they're doing. So
right. I mean, the NFL, people who watch the NFL always say, man, the offense has to catch up to the defense. The defense is usually ready first, but not to this extent, man. Like we seem way behind the curve right now, man.
Right. I could see that some because from New Orleans side of the ball, their offense didn't look that great either. Their offense didn't look good until Chris Olave realized that he had C.J. Henderson guarding him.
Yeah. As soon as Derek Carr woke up and said, "Where's 23 at?" That's when their offense woke up. So
they're like, "Oh, hold up! Oh, we're gonna run a streak? Oh yeah, on a streak. If you get beat on like a double move or a zig route or something like that, okay, I got it. But
that was straight 9.99 seam. Nothing.
And you played it well until the last second. I'm so mad at C.J. Henderson for that because we've seen it before. We've seen it before.
We've seen it too many times. Yeah.
We've also seen a lot of Eddie Pinheiro has not missed a kick since we all wanted to drown him in the Catawba River after that crazy Atlanta game last year. He has not missed a kick. In fact, he hit a career long last night of 54 yards. How come our special team guys are good?
Why is Sam Franklin like the best gunner in the NFL? Why is Sam Franklin like just a maniac on the special teams? Like what's up with that?
So you tell me the defensive coach, pretty good. Special teams coach,
pretty good. Yep.
Offensive
when it comes to actually scoring the ball.
Yeah, the whole point of the game.
The whole point of the game is to score more points than the other team, and we can't get that part right for some reason.
All right, let's talk stats. Who's your offensive MVP?
Eddie Pinheiro. I'm not even looking at the stats.
Yep. Eddie Pinheiro. 3 for 3 with a long of 54 career long. The guy's killing it. I mean, no one else did anything of note. Although Bryce Young he did not lead the team in rushing, but he had a great, that run near the end was good. I did see a little bit of Bryce Young, like, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna do it myself. Yeah. Like y'all not gonna help me? Okay, all right. Like, I'll just run the ball, which I don't want Bryce Young running the damn ball.
Probably need to see more of that. Probably.
Well, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see that man take any unnecessary hits.
Yeah, we don't need any more TJ Watt situations. Yeah, no doubt.
Last week what happened to Anthony Richardson when he tried to play hero and run the ball.
Yeah, good point.
And got cracked. And guys, I'm sure the perception amongst the league is Bryce Young is a little dude. We gonna crack him. We gonna hit him. Right. Please don't run the ball because your team is trash. But I think that he was like, look, I gotta win this game because I'm sick of these mugs. So defensive MVP.
I'm going Frankie Louisville. And speaking of Frankie Louisville, listen. I'm telling you that time is coming, buddy. And what do I mean by that?
The Brinks truck is coming. It's coming.
It's coming. Yep.
The front seven actually played really well.
Really well.
Grugier Hill played really well in Shaq Thompson's absence. He had a sack, tackle for loss, and a QB hit. Frankie Louvu, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. Justin Houston and Ito Gross-Matos both combined for a sack. Justin Houston had a tackle for loss. The front seven played really well, and it was sad. Our boy Rodney hit us in the chat and was like, man, imagine if you had an offense to go with this defense.
Right. Shout out to Gruger Hill, man. He did have a great game, and shout out to Madden for rating him like a 68. Great job, Madden. Just one of your many missteps.
They were like, "Oh, Carolina's just whatever."
Whatever. We'll just rate people whatever.
Put a number. Let's make Brian Burns at 85.
We digress here.
Next game. Okay, next on the docket is
Hey, man. Before we make predictions for next game, would you like to make an official announcement about next week?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Let's something positive before
we have an announcement to make, y'all.
All right. So next week we're going to be broadcasting and having a live watch party at Firehawk Brew Pub in Mount Holly. So on Main Street in Mount Holly, it's like our new hangout spot. Maybe the dopest barbecue in Charlotte.
Those ribs are awesome, dude.
The ribs are incredible.
Man,
they actually have a wood fire grill that costs I think it costs them like 10 grand for this wood fire grill, and you can tell the difference. We love that place. So they started showing football there now on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays. So we're going to, since the next game is against Seattle, therefore it is an afternoon game. We're actually going to go there. We're going to eat. We're going to watch the game. We're going to get crazy. If you guys want to come out there and join us, have a good time, that'll be dope. And then right as soon as the game ends, we're going to broadcast our show from Firehawk Brew Pub. So come join us out there. Come get some ribs, barbecue. I'll buy you a drink. You can tell me how much our show sucks.
You can tell us how wrong we are and why do you guys have a show? All of it.
Yeah.
We accept all of it. Yes.
So hopefully we see y'all there.
No doubt.
Also, hopefully we see the Panthers in Seattle, because that place now,
House of Horrors.
Yes, yeah. I know it's not the same as the Legion of Boom days, but going all the way back to the 2005 NFC Championship game or 2006 NFC Championship game, it has never been fun to play in Seattle. And for the same reasons that I picked the Falcons to win in game one, I might pick Seattle. Although I think the Panthers might have a better chance in this game. But you want Bryce Young to go on the road, and not just the road, but you're going to Seattle. Maybe the loudest stadium in the NFL.
Maybe the most intimidating place to play in the NFL.
Yeah. With a busted offense. Play don't come in until half a second before the clock run out. You can't hear there anyway. Oh, that's gonna be
tough, man.
I'm picking Seattle barely. I think they eke one out like 23-20. I think the Panthers look a little better on offense, but I think that going on the road is too much for them, and they drop another close one.
Yeah,
23-20.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately going to pick Seattle to win as well. I think we dropped to 0-3. It will be, to me, it'll be like the first two games. It'll be a defensive struggle. I have it a little more low scoring. I'm going to go Seahawks 17. I'm going to go Panthers 7. I think it's a very low scoring game there.
Okay.
Yep.
I can see that.
Unfortunately. And I hope we're wrong, just to be clear, but it's the way I see it right now, man.
Oh boy, Panthers. Hey, we actually got a little bit of Hornets, just a little bit. Oh yeah, good point. That's Seattle's home opener too.
Oh
yeah,
But by the way, the Seahawks, who went on the road to Detroit last week and pretty much beat them up, so they're coming off a win in Detroit and coming back home against us, man. So good luck to us.
Good luck to us. Hopefully they don't kill Bryce Young.
Right. So, man, we got a little bit of Hornets news, right?
Kelly Oubre Jr. has found a home.
And it's not in Charlotte, unfortunately.
Not in Charlotte. He signed with the Philadelphia 76ers yesterday. Good for him. He's going to go to a championship contender immediately. They're going to use him.
And Kaza, I can see it now. I can envision it now. I know it's going to happen. They're going to go to the playoffs. They're going to be on national TV. Kelly Oubre is going to have a Kelly Oubre game. You know exactly what I mean when I say that. You know exactly what I mean when I say that. And what is the narrative going to be when that game happens? Go ahead and finish my thought.
I know when he was in Charlotte, he was going crazy when he was in Charlotte. Yeah. So their fans' opinions are very split on this. A lot of people felt like, we didn't need Kelly Oubre. We didn't need to bring him back. We needed to pay him. We didn't need to pay him what he wanted. Which hold on, let me see if I can bring up how much his contract was for
And while you're bringing it up, man, I find it interesting. He's signing with Philly for a veteran minimum, man, which is
vet minimum, which is crazy that we couldn't sign him for vet minimum.
That's what I'm getting. Not on top of that, but not just us, but he couldn't find a better deal than that. Like Kelly Oubre is better than vet minimum, man.
Well, we've talked about this before. The market is very weird this season.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people looked at Kelly Oubre and they saw the production, but they also saw the lack of efficiency. And if there's one knock you could make on Kelly Oubre Jr., and I liked Kelly Oubre Jr. a lot as a Hornet, was that he just wasn't a very efficient player. He was really streaky. It's just that, when he was on, he was on.
He was on.
And he was a little more consistent than someone like, say, Malik Monk, who was also very streaky and not efficient. But he was just a flat out better player than someone like Monk. He was bigger and he could play defense. I'm really surprised that it took so long for a team to sign Kelly Oubre Jr. And I'm really surprised that the Hornets didn't say, hey, we'll give you that minimum to stay. Maybe they did. And then, he felt insulted by the Hornets offer and coming back to the Hornets after feeling insulted by Charlotte's offer and then not finding anybody else. I mean, no player wants to do that to their pride. So, so good for Kelly Oubre. I hope that we have enough depth on the Hornets roster to be somewhat competitive. That's my real.
Well, all right. So the first thing I thought when I saw that Kelly Oubre signed with the Sixers is like it puts even that much more pressure on Brandon Miller. You know what I mean? Because now, and this is just a prediction. Look, Brandon Miller may start, but I don't predict he is going to start. So with that being said, all of Kelly Oubre's minutes are essentially Brandon Miller's minutes now. He's not worried about Kelly Oubre being in the rotation along with him or competing, whatever. It's all Brandon Miller now. And I think that even puts more pressure on whether that could be a good thing or that could be a bad thing. One thing it does do is it kind of alleviates the logjam a little bit at the wing position a little bit. We still got a bit of a logjam at the wing position, but at the very least, at least with the three position, we know where we stand there. We know it's Gordon. We know it's Miller,
right.
And maybe Cody as the third three. Whatever, you know what I mean. But at least we know where we stand there. So, I mean, hey, Brandon Miller, you. I'm not saying Brandon Miller has the keys, but as far as either coming off the bench or starting.
No, LaMelo has the keys. Brandon Miller can ride. He can ride in the back in the pass.
Brandon Miller rides shotgun.
Well, he might have to ride in the back because we know Miles rides shotgun.
Right. So. No pun intended.
Yeah. I'm gonna go way back to football. There was a late comment came in because I know some people are probably not watching this in real time. So, Caitlin, we want to get to this because this is a good point. They mainly gave Sanders the reps Monday. Would love to see Chuba Hubbard like they used to with Stewart and Williams.
Absolutely.
I mean, why not? Well, I'll tell you why they didn't. Because if you look at teams that run these high-power offenses, very rarely do they use two backs the way the Panthers used to. Because you're not getting passing snaps. You're getting, you're getting a lot of running snaps. So I like that because it puts pressure on the defense. And Cam Newton proved in 2015, 2016 that you could do that and still have a great passing attack. The Panthers were one of the best. They were the best offense in the league that year, but they're also one of the best passing offenses in the league that year, despite essentially having three running backs if you count Cam Newton. So, yes, I would love to see this offensive genius, Frank Reich, better incorporate Chuba. I felt like Chuba had a decent game against Atlanta. I felt like he's ready to take that next step, and he can do things differently than Sanders does. Notice how the Saints, now I know this ain't the Sean Payton Saints anymore, but notice how, they would have different people do different things depending on what they want to do.
Right.
Like, hey, we're going to bring Taysom Hill in.
Hey, here's Taysom Hill. Oh, then we'll hit you with Jamal Williams. Hey, then we'll hit you with this Rashid Shaheed guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to do that.
Must be nice, man. Must be
All right,
nice.
if Taysom Hill's in the game, I'm gonna make him pass.
Come on.
I'm gonna make him pass.
Damn it! If I don't have a lot of hair, but I wanted to pull all of it out every time this dude took a snap. Because, like, you know what he's doing every time.
He's gonna run the ball. I'm gonna make him pass, just like the Saints did to the Panthers. Say we're gonna make Bryce Young pass the ball. I'm making Taysom Hill, but you better drop back and read the coverage. No, not us.
Not us. Nope. No. Well, we'll see. Let's move on, man. My blood pressure's high and I'm tired.
Shout outs.
Oh God, man! Shout at Wyatt, the tailgate dude, who invited me to this badass Panthers bus. That was the most pleasant experience I had watching the game last night. The food was great. The bus was well designed. I had a great time, man. That's it. I don't have any shout at. Well, okay, no, I do have a shout at. Shout at the Carolina Panthers organization. I'm not even talking about personnel, team stuff. If the product is not going to be good, at least make it easier for fans to come to the damn games. I'm gonna keep it at that because I'm gonna leave it there.
Why am I paying $68 for 2 bratwursts, a pretzel, and 2 drinks? Somebody explain that to me. And then you're gonna ask for a tip on a little iPad?
I'm gonna look right in your face and say no tip. And then after I paid $45 to park, right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got, man.
Oh boy.
It's gonna be a long season.
It's gonna be a long season, man. Don't forget. Let me put this. Let's see. Firehawk
Brew Pub, man. Be there Sunday, y'all. We will be there watching the game, doing a live pod. So if you can make it out, please come out, y'all. Kaz, are you typing that into the comment section, sir?
Yes.
Yeah,
Brew Pub, Mount Holly. Owned by a good friend of ours, Mr. Scott Blackwood. He is a native Mount Holly. Everyone in Mount Holly knows this guy, and he's built something really special in Mount Holly. So we like you guys come out, hang out with us. We're gonna yell at the screen and be mad at the pit. We can all be angry together, you know. And,
yeah. And I'll be doing a lot of drinking after the pod too. I can't wait for that part. So yeah,
absolutely. Hey, if we win, drinks are on me. If we lose, you gotta get your own drink.
Yeah, y'all.
I ain't buying nobody drinks we lose. No, I'm kidding, y'all. Hey, y'all have a great week. Don't let this avoid ESPN like the plague. Just avoid them, okay?
Just don't watch. Don't watch. Yeah.
Be ready to cheer your ass off on Sunday. Y'all take care. Y'all have a great week. We'll see y'all later. Much love.
Thank all of you. Peace out, y'all.